Across Iowa stand county courthouses, emblematic of the American ideal of equal justice for all. Yet for Iowans whose lives are marginalized by their poverty, these grand buildings represent something more tangible than an ideal. They mean quality health care for our seniors, freedom from domestic abuse for women and children, and safe and secure housing for families. In short, they represent the basic necessities of life. For low-income Iowans, these buildings represent the restoration of their hope and dignity. For more than 30 years, Iowa Legal Aid has worked to secure justice and restore hope and dignity. This is that story.
I was taking care of my wife at home. She had Alzheimer's. And it finally got to the point where I couldn't keep her home, couldn't maintain it. So we had to go to a nursing home. Then sometime later, the nursing home called me and said, "We're discharging your wife." So the 3 deputy sheriffs from Polk County came out and took her to Broadlands Hospital. I could never afford a lawyer to go ahead and fight these people, see. But I know when they sent her to Broadlands at the hearing, the judge told the manager of the nursing home, he said, "You know and I know what the situation is. It's economics." And he said, "You're not going to use Broadlands as a dumping ground for people you just don't want." He said, "She will go back to the nursing home and you will take good care of her."
I want people to hear the stories, hear the need for Iowa Legal Aid to be there. Because if Iowa Legal Aid had not been there, I would still be married, probably still be getting the abuse that I didn't need because I didn't know how to stand on my own.
I can recall a case in Middletown, Iowa, where the residents of a mobile home park were being evicted from their housing. And the coalition went down to find out the issues related to this particular case, and collaborated with Iowa Legal Aid to get a satisfactory settlement for the residents in that park. If not for legal aid in this instance, these folks definitely would have been homeless.
Well, we bought a house through the Welfare Corporation. We're good, you know. We were paying the mortgage after that almost a year. Then it started having trouble. I think Welfare declared bankruptcy. Then the house we bought, he was paying rent. Like that way, you know, he was paying the mortgage from the other lady. That way we didn't know.
When low-income people need access to the justice system, it often involves issues of safety, housing, utilities, issues that really impact their quality of life much more fundamentally than is often the case for higher-income individuals who have to access the justice system. So I think it's about a fairness and quality of life.
Access to legal assistance for families in crisis, for battered women and their children is absolutely essential. I don't think it's realistic for anyone in society to expect those major life's decisions to be made without benefit of legal counsel. When I traveled around the country, I used to start my speeches by saying, if I weren't a lawyer, I couldn't afford a lawyer.
I mean, we have a justice system, the best there is for criminals. Someone robs a bank, why, they're assured of competent attorney and a speedy trial. But if they're robbed of their livelihood or of the custody of a child or something like that, they don't have the money to hire a competent attorney, they're in really bad shape.
Justice is for everybody, including low-income people. That if we're going to have a just society, everybody has to have an equal shot at justice. And you know, if you go to Washington, you go to that wonderful Supreme Court building, right at the top of it, in very big letters, is equal justice under law. And that's our principle. That doesn't happen if people aren't represented.
The services of legal aid are of critical importance for literally thousands of Iowans. So for a lot of people, it is critical, and they end up living, in essence, in limbo, potentially for years, because they're not able to access the justice system. And so for me, justice is the opportunity for a heck of a lot of people to move on with their lives.
Justice and the ability to have justice is probably one of the most important premises in this country. And for someone to know when they have a problem or a legal problem and no money and nowhere to turn, for them to know that there are many lawyers across the state and a corporation called Legal Aid that will provide them with that justice, it's got to be very comforting.
Many of us fall into the trap of thinking of the provisions in the law that guarantee equal justice for everyone as self-executing. The truth is, these are battles that are fought every day by ordinary people in ordinary courtrooms, and without adequate funding, these folks will go unrepresented.
I simply love legal aid. For decades, despite the ups and downs of the budget, the organization and its people just endures. It literally saves lives and changes lives and enriches lives.
The personal stories that you have just heard are a call to action. They tell us that access to justice is critically important in the lives of ordinary Iowans, and that the work of the Iowa Legal Aid is vital to ensuring that access. Of course, everyone hopes they will never need a lawyer. But when that day comes, when a senior citizen is victimized by a financial scam, when a family faces the loss of their home, or all too often when a woman needs to seek protection from abuse, Iowa Legal Aid is there for them.
For low-income Iowans at risk, justice is more than an ideal. It means safety and security for their children. It means adequate health care and dignity for an aging spouse. It means hope for a brighter future. People who cannot afford legal services often desperately need such services to secure the basic necessities of life. Iowa Legal Aid serves as a safety net for thousands of low-income Iowans who have serious legal problems. Last year, 37,000 women, children, disabled and elderly Iowans found safety, security, health care, and most importantly, hope through the work of Iowa Legal Aid. And yet, 10,000 families were turned away for lack of funds. You can change that. Your contribution will bring hope to fellow Iowans who desperately need a helping hand.